reflection of Arabanoo's life, Captain Watkin Trench said the following: "The character of Arabanoo, as far as we had developed it, was distinguished by a proportion of gravity and steadiness, which our subsequent acquaintance with his countrymen by no means led us to conclude a national characteristic. In that daring, enterprising frame of mind which, when combined with genius, constitutes the leader of a horde of savages, or the ruler of a people, boasting the power of discrimination and the resistance of ambition, he was certainly surpassed by some of his successors, who afterwards lived among us. His countenance was thoughtful, but not unanimated. His fidelity and gratitude, particularly to his friend, the Governor, were constant and undeviating, and deserve to be recorded. Although of a gentle and placeable temper, we early discovered that he was impatient of indignity and allowed of no superiority on our part. He knew that he was in our power, but the independence of his mind never forsook him. The slightest insult were offered to him, he would return it with interest. A retaliation of merriment, he was often happy and frequently turned the laugh against his antagonist. He did not want docility, but either from the difficulty of acquiring our language, from the unskilfulness of his teachers, or from some natural defect, his progress in learning it was not equal to what we had expected. For the last 3 or 4 weeks of his life, hardly any resistance laid upon his inclinations, so that had he meditated escape, he might have easily effected it. He was, perhaps, the only native who was ever attached to us from choice, and who did not prefer a precarious subsistence amongst wild and precipitals to the comforts of a civilised system." I find those final lines the most unsettling. Trench frames Arabanoo as choosing attachment, as freely preferring the comforts of a civilised system over life amongst his own people. This is a familiar move in accounts of coercive control. When someone is captured, isolated from their family, made dependent upon their captors for survival, and then praised for loyalty and gratitude, compliance is reinterpreted as consent. The absence of escape is taken as evidence of preference rather than as a predictable outcome of trauma, disorientation, illness, and power imbalance. And this is much the same way that cult leaders operate. They believe, or they claim, that they are saving or civilising people they have under their control, mistaking adaptation for devotion and survival strategies for genuine attachment. Captain Trench perhaps sincerely reads Arabanoo's endurance within his captivity as proof of benevolence. But I think that's a conclusion that tells us far more about the colonial justification than it does about Arabanoo's inner life.